Hi, welcome to Cubs in Culture for February 23rd, 2018. Today is the first day of spring training, so I'm going to do all my goals for every player. So this is Javier Baez, favorite player. I would like for him to get to 4 WAR. If he does that, he'll have to walk more than 30 times and then get 600 plate appearances. I also would like for his strikeouts to be about 120, which should shave off about 24 in total. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's have a good season, Hobby. Okay, so this is Brian Dunsing. I would like for him to get to 1 WAR. He's going to be used something as a loogie, left-handed, 1 out only guy. He's a fun guy. He took a pay cut to stay on the Cubs. He's one of the few people that Madden actually ended up trusting last year. He has no major issues. I actually think Madden needs to use him more. Okay, so this is Carl Edwards Jr. My hope for him is that he's conditioned now because he's such a thin. He's only like 170 pounds. That he ends up being as dominant in the second half as he is in the first half because he had a good season last year. He just ran out of gas towards the end, especially in the playoff. And so there's that. I also would like for his walk rate to decrease by about 10%. And I also think Madden needs to use him much more in the 6th and the 7th as opposed to the 8th. Okay, so this is Chatwood. I would like for him to have an ERA of 3.5. I would also like for him to have... pitching wins are kind of silly, but I would like for him to have... let's say at least a 500 record. He will almost certainly be the 5th starter. Even the true 5th starter, Madden actually doesn't like putting the weakest pitcher 5th because if you put your weakest pitcher like 4th or whatever, it makes sweeps less likely to happen. Okay, so Chatwood, I don't know his exact order, but he's going to be the 5th worst pitchers. This is Shiznak. He's going to be a double play specialist. I hope he gets to 1 WAR, sidearm delivery. Really looking forward to him pitching. It's just interesting delivery. Hopefully he does better than Smith did in 2016. Okay. Wilson Contreras. I would like for him to get to 5 WAR and then get some MVP votes. Main thing he needs to work on is pitch framing. Also funneling his anger in an appropriate direction. Super fun player. Probably my second favorite player on the team. It's going to be interesting to watch him work with Jarvis and Chatwood for the first couple of times because it sometimes takes him a little bit to be acclimated. Okay. Just in pausing here for a moment, trying to gather my thoughts. I also have been trying to make Contreras and Baez a thing like Brizzo. Anyway, here's Albert Almora Jr. That's him scoring the most important run in Cubs history. I hope for him to get to 2 WAR. I especially want him to increase his slugging against right-handers so Matt doesn't feel like he has to protect him and platoon him with Schwarber. His progression, I think Almora is poised to be have a breakout season actually, because especially towards the tail end of last year, like in August and September. He seemed to be doing much better against righties than at the beginning of the year and 2016. Excuse me. That is Jose Quintana. I want him. It's basically 3 goals. One, I want him to have a winning record. I know pitcher wins don't really matter, but he's never had a winning record, mostly because he never got run support on the White Sox. I also want him to finally get some respect. I would like for him to get have a season where he gets at least 1 or 2 Cy Young votes. Because this guy has been the most consistent pitcher in baseball for about 5 years now, and no one freaking cares. He's not as dominant as someone like Kershaw, but he's a rock. He's so consistent every time through the order and start to start. It's so amazing. So Cy Young vote. ERA under 3.5, winning record for once. Okay, so this is Justin Grimm. My goal for him is to actually just make the club. He was a huge part in 2016. The thing is, because of his feel on his curveball, he's a very streaky bullpen guy. So last year, he was mostly in a funk. Okay, and then likewise, Justin Wilson, I would like for you to stop walking people every goddamn time you come in. Just return to your career normals, and that will be fine. Hopefully it was just a transition thing and having the offseason fixed you, because god damn it, that trade was awful. If not, okay, so this is Brandon Morrow. My main goal for him is for him to be have a healthy season. He is going to be the closer. Matt, very similar to how Davis was used at the beginning of the year. He's only going to be, at least for the first half, he's only going to be used in traditional closing role, which is absolutely fine, because Morrow has had a ton of health issues, and so if we have to protect him and do less than ideal leverage management for bullpen for the first half of the season, so we have him down the stretch, that's fine. But that's our new closer. Let's hope, at least at the beginning of the year, that we don't have a ton of save opportunities for him. Okay, so here's Chris Bryant. I'd like for him to be to get 6 WAR, 6-7 WAR, which would actually be a little bit better than last year. The main thing, this might sound funny, I hope he gets ejected again, because he's more interesting when he's upset, because he's such a level-headed, easygoing guy. In any case, the other thing I hope for him is he gets better in the clutch. If you look at his clutch numbers, they're kind of been terrible for the last in 2016 and 2017. Clutch is probably random, so there's not much to do about that. Okay, Yu Darvish, yay! I want him to get 200 strikeouts, an ERA of about 3, and then I want him to win 2/3 of his games, or you can say these are predictions, hopes, whatever. He's been a really fun player already. Darvish himself, his first name is Yu, Y-U. He himself been making Yu Darvish puns, which is hysterical to me. And he actually seems to be really pushing himself to use English with the Cubs, which is kind of cool, actually. In any case, I can't wait to watch him pitch. It'd be hysterical to me if we make the postseason and the NCLS, he's the guy who finishes off the Dodgers. It would be the perfect twisting of the knife, given what happened in the World Series. Okay. Ian Happ. I don't like Ian Happ. He's too boring. I hope he has a good season, but I hope Javier Baez has a better season. I kind of wish he gets traded. Okay, so this is Jason Hayward. My big goal for him is for him to become a league average hitter in terms of average and slugging. If he does that, he'll be worth. He'll be 5 WAR whatever, which would be an everyday starter. Hopefully, Chili Davis, who he's been working with for the past month, is helping correct that weak contact issue. I think it might be mostly mental at this point. Okay, John Lester. John Lester had a very down season last year, and I think a lot of that had to do with him not having a security blanket of David Ross, and then also his shoulder giving out. He had flashes of his brilliance in 2017, so he only ended up being worth 1 WAR. So I hope he ends up being worth 2 WAR. He's very much in the decline. His contract has already basically paid for itself because of his postseason and his performance over 2015-16. So that's that. Ben Zobrist is another person who's completely in decline. He's going to be taking a much more secondary role. The one thing I hope is I hope that his lack of playing time is due to other players doing well as opposed to him being injured. And that he ends up being a bit more of a bit player. This is Tommy La Stella, who actually is one of my favorite players on the team, because in 2016, he basically disappeared for 3 weeks because he didn't want to go back to the minors league, so he was like, fuck this. I have all the money in the world. What the hell do I care? My goal for him is just to stay on the team, and then also for people to stop bringing up the fact, negatively, that he got burnt out on baseball for a little bit in 2016. It's a hard life, at least sort of mentally at times. Kyle Schwarber. Okay, so first of all, Kyle Schwarber is actually half that size now. He's really transformed his body this offseason. My goal for him is for him to just perform like he did when he first came up. And then also for him to not have any obvious issues in the outfield that people just keep picking on. He's actually if you look at the advanced defense metrics, he's not great in the outfield. He's not a defensively inclined player, but he's still actually a better than average defender. He saved in the left field last year 3 defensive runs above replacement. Now, that's not a lot, but it's still better. Okay, Addison Russell, if he could just perform up to his... if he performs substantially similar to 2016, that would be fine. He had a very down year for him with family drama and stuff, so just be normal. Okay, Rizzo, I hope he performs, just be the rock that he normally is. We get to 5 WAR. Then for Brizzo together, I've already said this, but I kind of hope they get more rest because both of them really struggle in the postseason. And we need for them not to do that this year unless Baez happens to be locked in again. But because Baez is a streaky person, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Okay, Kyle Hendricks now. 3 specific goals for him. I hope he has an ERA below 2.5, which I think can absolutely happen again. I also hope he throws at least 1 complete game. It would be nice if it was a Maddox, which means a complete game shutout with less than 100 pitches. Then I also hope Madden stops, Madden doesn't trust him enough to go through 3 times through an order, and I don't know why. His 3rd time through the order numbers are some of the best in baseball, so there's that. The also thing, this is a little bit specific, is I hope there's no pictures of him smiling in 2018, because Kyle Hendricks not having emotion is a great in-joke among Cubs fans, so make good pitches. He's very, very zen. Okay. Okay, so this is Mike Montgomery. He's going to be the swing man. I want him to perform up to his career normals. I want people to realize how valuable he actually is. Again, last year, so I hope he gets the 3 WAR. Last year, he was more valuable than John Lester or Davis because of the amount of good innings he gave you. And which is one kind of shocking. He was also more valuable than Arrieta last year because of the amount of good innings he gave you. I hope he gets like 14 starts and he wins most of them. But I really wish fans would appreciate him. That's one of the reasons why I think one of the reasons why he says I want to be a starter is most fans don't really latch on to bullpen guys other than the closer. So it's really starter or closer are the only things that matter, which is unfair because like Mike Montgomery, we don't win the division last year without Mike Montgomery. Okay, so this is Madden. Which I'm going to use him for team goals. Okay, main goal this year is I would like for them to win the division by 10 games because that would be a nice split between 2016 and 2017. I would be satisfied, as always, if they would win 82 games. The main thing is for both Madden and the team is I hope the first half goes better. I'd rather have the slump or the tough stretch in the middle of the season because it's so much harder to come back after the All-Star break when you're down by 5 games and you waste a lot of energy. So it's more important. So if we're going to have a mid-season, you're always slumped. There's always a rough patch. I hope that rough patch is in the middle of the season, like it was in 2016. Now, for Madden specifically, I hope he gets ejected twice because it's always amusing when he gets ejected. Okay, so these are the other 2 art pieces of the 6. I like the Albert Einstein one better. I honestly don't know what the Mona Lisa one's supposed to be in relation to baseball, but as far as the Einstein one, get out of the box, that's very much aimed at Almora, Baez, and Contreras, because unfortunately they tend to admire their home runs. And that's the one thing Madden really doesn't like is when the people don't respect 90. It used to be respect 90, which means get the hell out of the box, respect the first 90 feet. So in any case, I like the one on the right better. It's still a very weird thing that Madden is doing. I'm really curious what the last 2 look like. In any case, so that will be my predictions for 2018 Cubs or hopes, desires, whatever. I'll just go back to a small update tomorrow. Cubs and culture out for the day. See ya. A quick amendum. Here's Pedro Strop. Sorry, Stropey, that I forgot you for a second. He's a bit like Jose Quintana. That he's been really consistent over the last 3 years for the Cubs out of the bullpen. If you look at his numbers, he's debatably been the best pitcher always consistently for the 3 years. So like someone like Chapman had a better Cubs performance, but because he was only there for like 3 months. Strop has been there for 3 years and he's been much more consistent. In any case, my 2 goals for him is just perform what he's been doing, and then also you might notice that his hat is slightly tilted to the side. I want Cubs fans to stop complaining about that. It's sort of racist that they do because of him being a person of color, and it seems to rankle older white fans. So shut the fuck up, older white fans. It's fine. Let the player be a player. Okay, so that Cubs and culture out. Bye.